All right. Jon Jones versus Naruto Uzumaki. So, many of you may be thinking, this is probably one of the dumbest fights I've ever heard of in my life. And you are very right. But I just was curious. I got to thinking, what would happen if a UFC fighter fought an anime character? So, we're talking Naruto. I'm not even going to bring Goku or any of this into that. I'm just talking about Naruto today. And I think before I want to get into this, I need to talk about how this is going to go down. So basically, I'm thinking Naruto wants to join the UFC, and for some unknown reason, Dana White says, yes, you can go to the light heavyweight division and fight Jon Jones. So this is going to happen in an octagon. No kunai, no throwing stars, no weapons, just Naruto in his chakra, Jon Jones in his hands. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, I think I want to get some versions of Naruto just out of the way. Don't even need to talk about them. And that is anything in Shippuden and obviously in Boruto. So anything past that, we don't even need to talk about because that would just be ridiculous. Jon Jones is getting smushed. Not even a contest. But the ones that we do need to talk about are the versions of Naruto in the original series. So basically, Kid Naruto. I think he's like 12 or something like that in original Naruto. So we're going to talk about that. And obviously for Jon Jones, we're talking about the prime Jon Jones, like the Jon Jones that was choking out Lyoto Machida, standing up, dropping him on the floor. That Jon Jones is the one we're talking about. We're not going to be talking about Jon Jones moving up to heavyweight. Obviously, I think that's what he's doing right now. But no, we're talking about light heavyweight Jon Jones, the one that we've seen fight a bajillion times. So the first version of Naruto I want to talk about is Chunin Exams Naruto. 12 years old, I believe. He's not really too good at very much. I don't think he even knows the Rasengan at that point. So this will be a pretty good starting point. Because in my opinion, Naruto with Rasengan and Shadow Clone is just going to spam Shadow Clone, spam Rasengan, and you're basically just having hundreds of Narutos running at you with the force of like a semi-truck in each hand. So we're just going to dismiss that for now and talk about pre-Rasengan Naruto. Quick intermission here. I'm going to be completely dismissing the first episode of Naruto where you see Naruto creating like 1,000 shadow clones because he only really does that once and he can never really do that again in a normal fight. So yeah, I'm just going to forget about that, forget about the QB chakra, forget about any of that. We're just talking base Naruto. So yeah, back to the video. So if we're going to talk about the kid Naruto that fought Kiba, I'm thinking all Naruto really has up until this point is Shadow Clone. What we learn from this first fight is Naruto basically does nothing. He just stands there, gets hit, he's face planting on the ground, looks up, I'm going to become Hokage. Everyone knows how it works. But he does do some like stupid feats of strength, like throwing Kiba across the whole building, which I'm just going to not take super literally because if you do, like fetus Naruto basically beats any person on the planet. So I'm just going to chalk that up to animation and wanting to make it a little crazy. But the series of moves or whatever, what beats Kiba is Naruto makes some shadow clones and does the whole kick down on his head, one-shots him, done. I'm thinking Jon Jones, light heavyweight, 205 at the very least, probably like 220, something like that, walking around. Yeah, I think he is, first off, just taking that to the dome, no issue. And I don't think he is just going to let that happen. I think Jon Jones is quick enough to dodge something like that and see these 5 little kid Narutos and just be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to take these things out. Because in original Naruto, those Naruto clones are basically nothing. Like, they are some of the weakest versions of shadow clones that we see in the show. So in my opinion, Naruto versus Kiba, that version of Naruto sort of just gets stomped. I mean, once Jon Jones gets a hold of the actual Naruto, it's sort of over. He's just realistically just going to choke him out, and he is going to go unconscious. In the show, it likes to dance around and then have him get hit sometimes and then just get back up. But no, Jon Jones is probably just going to choke him out, and it'll be over. But the interesting part of original Naruto and the version of Naruto that is the most interesting is probably when he's learning the Rasengan. Basically, the Naruto that tries to attack Tsunade, that version of Naruto is the one I sort of want to talk about a little bit more. And the reason for that is because he actually has something to do damage. The Naruto that fought Kiba and the one that fought Neji just taps into the Nine Tails chakra or whatever. We're just going to not talk about that fight. That fight's awful. But the version of Naruto that actually has something reliable that can do damage is the one that is learning Rasengan. And I think the one that fully learns Rasengan, the one that is like actually using Rasengan plus Shadow Clones, it's sort of, I mean, Rasengans are calced to be like building level, and nothing Jon Jones is doing is building level. And if you get hit by one of those, you're getting one-shotted. Like a normal person is obviously just getting one-shotted. They're getting kabutoed, basically, is what's going to happen. So we're just going to not address the full Rasengan learned Naruto because I think that's a little too much for a normal human being. But the Naruto that is learning Rasengan and isn't really even all that good at Shadow Clones at that point, I think is something we can talk about. Because if you look at what happened with him and Tsunade, it's sort of like he runs in and Tsunade hits the ground and Naruto falls in the hole made by Tsunade hitting the ground. Now, if that doesn't show how unaware Naruto is when he is in this stage of learning the Rasengan, I don't know what is. So obviously, he is extremely clumsy, even more clumsy at this point when he's learning the Rasengan than he is usually. And when you're a UFC fighter, you learn to take advantage of that clumsiness, and any wrong move in one of these fights is Jon Jones knocking you out, basically. But there is something to be said about the strength of a Rasengan. Even though Naruto was just learning this, it still would be something way past what any human being could physically do with just their hands. So it's sort of like you need to see it as if it's a little 12-year-old kid with a shank running at you. That's basically what we've got here. So Naruto with a shank versus Jon Jones with his hands. Because either way, if you're getting hit by that, it's not good. So Jon Jones just needs to avoid this Rasengan, which I think this version of Naruto, he's clumsy enough, is not well versed enough in the jutsu, both Rasengan and Shadow Clone. That's basically all he's got. And he's not well versed enough to hit Jon Jones. So if you take that under that assumption that Naruto cannot hit Jon Jones is too quick, he will dodge out of the way, he will just avoid that hand, then it's pretty obvious Jon Jones is winning. Because if you can dodge that, then you basically just got this little 12-year-old kid that you can just rear naked choke unconscious. So this is going to be talking about 12-year-old kids getting choked unconscious. This is not good. So in my opinion, if Jon Jones can avoid this not fully learned Rasengan, then he takes the dub, in my opinion. Because Naruto, again, up until this point, all he has is his shuriken, all that stuff, which he cannot use because he's in the octagon. You don't have any of that. All he's got is Rasengan and Shadow Clone. And up until that point, I don't even think we see Naruto using Rasengan with a Shadow Clone other than to make it. So I don't think he can do multiple Shadow Clones with multiple Rasengans at that point. So yeah, if that's the truth, then Jon Jones takes that fight. And I think that's the furthest along version of Naruto that he can handle. Because after that, Naruto's got Shadow Clone plus Rasengan. And again, like I said, a bunch of people running at you with the force of semi-trucks in each hand is just not doable for a human being. So in my opinion, the Naruto that is just barely learning Rasengan against Tsunade is the one that Jon Jones can probably handle. Anything after that, and obviously anything into Shippuden, there's just no chance. And since he beats that version of Naruto, anything before that, Academy Naruto, just Genin Naruto, any of those versions, obviously get stomped by Jon Jones. So yeah, if you guys agree, disagree, please let me know in the comments. Obviously, if you just scale it perfectly and take into account all the times that Naruto just throws people across a building, like just superhuman feats of strength, Jon Jones probably isn't going to win, because realistically, if Naruto was in the real world, he would just blitz any normal human being and one-shot them. But if you just look at it as a viewer's standpoint, no crazy calcs, none of that, I think the version of Naruto that is just learning Rasengan loses to Jon Jones. Anything after that, no chance. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. If you guys want some videos like this, please let me know. If you agree, again, disagree, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.